It is the first of the month, and you already know exactly what is about to happen to your bank account. That direct deposit hits, and within just a few hours, the biggest chunk of your hard earned money is already gone. Rent. Just like last month, and the month before that, and every single month for as long as you can remember. You are not behind on it, and you are not missing any payments, and you are doing everything that everyone told you was the right thing to do. But somehow, at the end of every single month, there is almost nothing left to show for all of that effort. No savings growing, and no wealth building, and no investments compounding in the background while you sleep. Just a roof over your head and a receipt that proves you paid someone else to keep it there. And the part that really stings the most is when you watch other people your age buying homes and building equity and talking about their portfolios. You are not spending recklessly, and you are not being careless, and you actually care deeply about your financial future. You are just stuck. If that is where you are right now, then stay with me for the next few minutes, because the reason you feel stuck has nothing to do with your work ethic and everything to do with where your single largest bill goes every month. Here is what nobody ever sits you down and explains when you sign your very first lease agreement. Rent is not just a monthly bill that you pay to keep a roof over your head. It is a wealth transfer system that moves money from your pocket directly into someone else's growing net worth, and it was designed so that you never accumulate a single dollar of value in return. Homeowners pay a mortgage every month and slowly build equity over time, which is essentially forced savings baked right into their housing cost. Renters pay the same amount of money and sometimes even more than homeowners pay, and they build absolutely nothing in return. The reason you cannot seem to get ahead is not because you earn too little money. It is because the largest single line item in your entire budget was never designed to give you anything back. Today, I am going to break down exactly how this mechanism works and how much it actually costs you over a lifetime, and most importantly, how to step outside of it, even if buying a home feels completely impossible right now. Let us put some real numbers on this so you can see exactly what I mean. Say you were paying $1,500 a month in rent, which is right around the national median for a one-bedroom apartment in the United States right now. Over 1 year, that adds up to $18,000 walking right out of your account. Over 10 years, that is $180,000 of your money that is completely gone forever. Over 20 years, you will have spent $360,000 and you will have zero equity and zero assets and zero return on any of it. Now, let's compare that to someone with a similar monthly payment of $1,500 going toward a mortgage instead of rent. Over that same 20-year period, roughly $100,000 to $150,000 of those payments went directly into building their home equity. Same amount of money leaving their bank account every single month, but one person now has a six-figure asset growing in the background, while the other person has nothing but a folder full of old lease agreements. Same monthly payment and same level of effort and same sacrifice, but a difference of over $100,000 simply because of where that payment was directed each month. And here is where it gets even worse for renters, because rent does not stay flat over time. The national average rent increase runs between 3 and 5% every single year, according to data from the Department of Housing and Urban Development. That $1,500 you are paying right now becomes roughly $2,000 in just 10 years and could climb past $2,700 in 20 years. Your single biggest expense keeps growing year after year, while your ability to save anything keeps shrinking month after month. Now, here is the part that completely reframes how you should be thinking about this situation. The Federal Reserve's survey of consumer finances found that the median renter household in America has a net worth of just $10,400. The median homeowner has a net worth of $396,200. That is not a gap, and that is not just a difference. That is a 38-to-1 ratio between homeowners and renters when it comes to total accumulated wealth. And it is not because homeowners earn 38 times more money, because in many cases they only earn slightly more than renters do. The difference comes down to one single factor, which is where their largest monthly payment goes every single month, into their own equity or into someone else's. And that is the trap in its simplest form, because rent keeps you stable enough to survive, but never leaves enough room for you to actually escape. Now, if that 38 to 1 number just shifted something for you and you're starting to see your rent payment differently than you did a few minutes ago, then hit subscribe because this channel exists to show you the financial systems hiding in plain sight. So, what do you actually do about this, especially if buying a home tomorrow is not realistic for where you are right now? Here is your next move in simple form. Step 1 is to cap your rent ratio to 25% of your take home income. Financial guidelines have always said 30% of gross income should go to housing, but that benchmark was written decades ago when groceries and insurance and student loans cost a fraction of what they cost now. In today's economy, that 30% rule leaves most people drowning in everything else. Aim for 25% or lower, and if you aren't $4,000 a month after taxes, that means your rent ceiling is $1,000. That might mean a smaller apartment or a roommate or a different neighborhood, but every single dollar between what you pay now and that 25% line is a dollar that can go somewhere that actually grows over time. This one decision creates the margin that makes everything else on this list possible. Step 2 is to automate what I call a renter's equity fund. Homeowners build equity automatically every month because their mortgage forces it, whether they think about it or not. You do not have a mortgage yet, so you need to build that forcing mechanism yourself. Open a separate high yield savings account or a low cost index fund, and the day your paycheck arrives, set up an automatic transfer, even if it is only $50 or $25 to start. Treat that transfer like a bill that must be paid every single month, because that's exactly what it is. It's a payment to your future self that your future self will thank you for. If you can put away $200 a month into an index fund, averaging around 7% annual return, then in 10 years you will have roughly $34,000. In 20 years, that same $200 a month grows to over $104,000. You just manufactured the equity that renting was taking away from you. Step 3 is to negotiate your rent or move strategically every 2 years instead of just renewing your lease on autopilot. Most renters sign that renewal without even questioning the number, and that automatic behavior is expensive because landlords are counting on your inertia since they know moving is stressful. Every time your renewal comes up, research comparable units in your area, and if your rent is above the local market rate, then negotiate and bring the data. Tell your landlord that a similar unit down the street is offering the same layout for $100 or $150 less per month. Many landlords would rather cut your rent by $50 to $100 than lose a reliable tenant and pay thousands in turnover costs. And if your current place refuses to budge, then be willing to move, because $150 monthly savings from switching apartments is $1,800 a year, and over 5 years, that is $9,000, redirected straight into your equity fund. Step 4 is to build what I call a down payment ladder. If homeownership is a long-term goal, then stop thinking of it as one giant impossible leap and start seeing it as a series of small, manageable steps. Look into first-time buyer programs in your state because many offer 3 to 5% in down payment assistance through grants or low-interest loans. FHA's loans allow you to put down as little as 3.5% of the purchase price. On a $200,000 home, that is just $7,000, which is nowhere near the $40,000 that most people imagine they need to get started. You do not need to buy a dream home right now because you just need a first home that converts your monthly payment from dead money into living equity that grows for you over time. Start small, grow strong. Step 5 is to increase your income by one extra rent payment per month. This is the accelerator that speeds everything else up. Find a way to earn one additional rent payment worth of income each month, whether that comes from freelancing or overtime or selling a skill or building a side project. If your rent is $1,400 and you generate an extra $1,400 per month, you just doubled your financial breathing room. That second $1,400 goes entirely into savings or debt payoff or investments. Even 12 months of earning one extra rent payment can generate $15,000 to $17,000 in new capital, and that changes your entire trajectory. Now look, I know some of you watching this are thinking that you are already years behind and that you've spent tens of thousands on rent with nothing to show for it. And I hear you because that money is gone and I'm not going to pretend otherwise. But every single month from this point forward is a month where you get to choose. You can keep feeding a system that was never built to grow your wealth, or you can set up your own system, even a small one that starts compounding in your favor right now. You cannot fix what you refuse to look at, but you looked today and you stayed for the whole video, and that means something important about who you are. You are not too late. Pick one step from this list, and just one, and set it up this week. Then come back and tell me in the comments which one you chose.